Welcome to Doctrine and Devotion, a podcast that explores Christian faith and practice from a Reformed Baptist perspective. My name is Joe Thorne. I'm the lead pastor of Redeemer Fellowship in St. Charles, Illinois.
And I'm Jimmy Fowler, executive pastor at Redeemer Fellowship.
And Jimmy, as this drops, as this episode is released into the wilderness, into the wild, you are all by your lonesome.
Yes, I am. Thank you for reminding me.
Yeah, you don't have anybody. Your wife left you.
I am.
And she took the kids.
I'm alone.
That's what happened. How you doing?
I think we have to give context. Because the way that made it sound
how did that sound?
My wife left me.
That's what she did.
No, but and never coming back.
No, I didn't say that.
But the way you made it sound.
No, I just said she left you when she took the kids. That's what she did.
Did she also take my money? Did she take my card?
I'm sure she did.
She took my card with her?
I'm sure she did. Where did she go?
Oh, exotic Canada.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So, they're getting like all of her relatives together and like having a wigwam or something.
What'd you call it?
A wigwam or something? I don't know what you call it. When they get all the teepees and stuff together, like I don't know. I don't know what her background is.
So offensive.
No, I'm asking. I don't know. I don't know.
You're gonna get hate for that.
I'm asking questions. I'm allowed to ask questions and seek enlightenment.
It is her mom's birthday.
Okay,
coming up, and that's what she's going to celebrate. But she's got to be there for 2 weeks. So it's because of the quarantine rules.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So there's some testing that has to be done. I think day 1, day 8, I think it is.
Who's that guy's name up there? Is that Trudeau?
Trudeau, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, we got Biden. Never mind.
Yeah.
I was about to make fun of him. I'm like, no.
So she'll be up there for at least 2 weeks.
Okay, so what are you doing during this time? Are you we're going to hang out every day, party, woohoo. Yeah.
Well, I'll probably just be working.
Oh, yeah, that's what I figured.
I got a couple audits coming up, so, some quality, some for those that, if you know, some SheQ audits. So,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So wait, this is the 28th when this comes out.
Yes, she leaves the 27th.
Right. So that means that as of this, I am only 3 days away from being on sabbatical.
Oh, sabbatical or severance?
Yeah, you keep calling it severance. Yeah, get a month of severance. No, I'll be on sabbatical through August.
Month for us to decide.
Yeah. How do we let Joe go? Not decide if they're keeping me, just how they want to break the news to me.
How are we going to let him know this is not working out?
Yeah. It's like, it's sort of like, I imagine it's how the chief of staff has to talk to our president. It's like, how do I explain this to him? The way that he's going to understand it.
How do we explain it to him like he's 5?
Yeah. Yeah. Repeat the line. Did you see that?
I did. That was
Repeat
bad.
the line.
Repeat the line. Well, you got to think though. I mean, I'm assuming on the teleprompter, there's a difference between say out loud.
Yeah, it would be in parentheses or something, I imagine.
You would think, right?
Yeah.
Like.
But people get into the zone and they just start reading. Not in the zone, they just sort of like get into autopilot and they just start reading. Maybe,
or someone really did mess up. It didn't.
Yep, could be.
Didn't.
You know what? He's 80-something years old.
So that being said, if someone messed up, then they probably would have hung that guy. They would have been like, all right, this guy's fired. It was his fault, kind of a thing. There's no way they were gonna But yeah,
I don't know. It's like
it's a bad look. It's a bad look.
Good.
Now, what about you, Joe? You got your severance coming up?
Yeah. I'll be on sabbatical for a month. So I'm just gonna.
Any big plans?
No, not really.
Oh,
I'm gonna chill. Gonna write.
Aren't you going on a trip?
We're going to Florida for a family reunion.
See, there you go. You're doing something.
Okay. Well, that's where it's just another. What do you call it? It's another environment in which I will feel socially awkward. Yeah.
What, Florida or just people?
Just out of my house, basically. People. I mean, they're all great people.
They're all family, and
Jen's family. Yeah,
but they're your
nah.
What?
No,
that's horrible.
Listen, do you want me to treat them how I treat my family?
I want you to treat them better.
Do you think if they're my family, then I'm going to treat them like I treat my siblings? You think that's going to go well? I'm going to talk to them like I talk to my siblings?
Listen, you're making yourself sound like a jerk.
I'm just saying, like
I'm just saying right
in
now.
my family,
you're
we
not
talk
coming off
we
really
talk
well.
very directly to each other.
That's
if
fine.
somebody's being annoying, we go, "You're being annoying." You want me to treat them like family when I go down there?
I think you could still be hospitable.
Oh, I'm hospitable. I smile. I'm there. I'm participating until they sing songs at night. Then I'm out.
Now, hold on. When you say you're participating, is this now? Joe famously is known, for at events, not hanging out with people, but hanging out in the bathroom.
Okay, no, that's I hide. I admit, I hide.
Is this going to be one of those things where you just hide?
That's not participating. That's hiding. No, by participating, I mean, people go to the lake. I go to the lake. We go to the lake with them. I get in the water.
Wait, you get in the water?
I get in the water. I climb on the big inflatable things. I do all the stuff.
What big inflatable thing?
Like they have, we were at this lake resort one time, and there was this big inflatable thing. You know, like Wipeout, like the show Wipeout. It's like that. Without moving parts. It was like all kinds of obstacles in the middle of the lake on this inflatable thing. Okay. Big ramps, things you can jump off of. You know, and some spinning things. So I do all that stuff. I get out there, I do that.
I'm actually impressed.
I did participate. I'm there. I do the ropes course. I did way up high in the trees.
Now, when you say way up high, like for you, like...
You know, like I'm not afraid of heights. I go all the way up. So the difference is, if it's 50 feet up in the air, it's even higher for me because I'm so short. So I get extra points.
You get extra points? It's like, 50 feet. 50 feet for a regular man is 75 for you?
At least, yeah. So, no, I totally participate until at night. And then they're like, hey, let's all get together and sing songs. I'm like, nah.
What kind of songs are they singing?
I don't know because I don't go to that.
You don't even try?
No.
Not even for your wife? You don't even
No, she doesn't want me there for that. I don't want. She doesn't want to do that. She's there to see family and whatnot, but like that's not her thing. Sitting around singing songs.
But she is though.
Well, she's there. Yeah.
But
it's her family. Yeah.
See, there you go. See,
but even if it was my family, I'd be like, nah, guys, I'm not doing that. I don't do that. I'm not sitting around singing songs. It's weird. It's not my thing. So I'm there, and then
you
at nighttime,
are such a party pooper.
And then I go. I would be if I was there. I'd be the party pooper. I don't go, so I'm not the party pooper. You can't be a party pooper if you're not at the party.
Oh, is that how
that's
this works?
Exactly how it works.
That's how this works.
That's a fact. Okay. All right, turn off your notifications. No. I don't like who's interrupting us.
No, it's not. But yeah.
Oh, you got
a photo.
Okay, so on Jimmy's phone, he's got a photo of his wife. It's like in a full giant bite of a sandwich.
Burrito.
Oh, it's a burrito. Yeah, okay. Thought it was a baguette. Yeah, that's a very aggressive bite of a burrito.
Oh, she devoured that breakfast burrito.
All right, what are we talking about today, Jimmy?
We're talking about the history. Really, we're talking about like, is the SBC confessional?
Oh, okay. Well, that's easy. No, not really.
Oh,
I guess we're done.
Well, we'd love to hear your thoughts. You can follow us online on Instagram, Twitter. I'm not going to go through the whole thing for us to keep going.
No.
But I mean, I think it's a bit more, complicated.
It's more nuanced than that.
It's more nuanced than that. Now, we have an email.
Okay.
I'm going to read this email. Joe and Jimmy. Joe's interview with Nick really highlighted how some Baptists respect the confessionalism of our Presbyterian friends, and I sympathize with that sentiment. Recently, I read Dr. Adam Greenway's article in Baptist Press, where he defends his amendment to the Credentials Committee motion at this year's meeting. This article puts him at odds with Moeller, which is interesting, but what is concerning is how he undermines the SBC's confessional identity while emphasizing cooperation as the most important distinctive of our convention. While I understand what Greenway says, I don't like the implication that the SBC isn't as confessional as I hoped. Greenway presents the BF&M 2000 as a big tent and inclusive document that highlights our Baptist distinctives, but it isn't meant to be a document that divides and excludes. While we are a cooperating convention, we do not cooperate with every church. We have a credentials committee. As Southern Baptists, how do you two think about confessionalism with respect to cooperation? While cooperation is important, I think confessionalism is just as important because we want our seminaries and missionaries to work within the parameters of our cooperative confession. Thanks.
Yeah. Okay. So good question. So, we had at the Southern Baptist Convention this year, there was just a lot of discussion, right, about our statement of faith, the Baptist faith, and BF&M, and a lot of it kind of revolved around Rick Warren and Saddleback Church and the fact that they have female pastors, while they only have qualified male elders. but they call people pastors who serve in various, capacities. So it's a little messier over there. While they would say, we're still keeping to the spirit of like what the Baptist Faith and Message says, because for us, what you're saying, pastor, we mean elders, and that's what the old 1925 word I think was. I referred to elders, but anyway. And so there was a lot of discussion, like, hey, they're not keeping to the BF&M, and Dr. Greenway was like, he moved that we put together a committee to actually like study and figure out like to what degree and how do we use the statement of faith to keep our churches together, because it's not very clear. And so like, the brother who wrote the email said like, well, Greenway is, in his article, he's undermining the SBC's confessional identity while emphasizing cooperation as the most important distinctive of our convention. Here's the problem. It's not that Greenway's doing that. That is, by and large, what the SBC has been. It has not been as strongly a confessional denomination as it is a missional convention. And this is what I think I said this to Nick recently when he was on the podcast. I said, we're supposed to have a confessional identity and a missional character, right? Our identity comes from the confession. This is who we are. What we do is the mission.
Yeah.
But we have for a long time had a more missional identity than a confessional identity.
I see what you're saying.
We are about the cooperative program. We are about reaching the nations. That's what locks us together. And fine, but that makes it for a bigger tent, and it also makes it more difficult to hold people to a confession when you don't make them sign off on the confession.
Correct. Yep.
So yeah, we do have a statement of faith. We do have a confession. Jimmy, first written pop quiz, Baptist Faith and Message, BF&M. First came out in.
You know what? You used the date. I'm going with the date.
Oh, I did.
I'm going to say 1925.
1925. That was it. 1925. And then
I feel pretty good right now.
So 1925.
Yep.
It's all right. Yep, that's fine. Simple. Simple. And the reason they came out with it was because they were trying to really unite Baptists, and bring Baptists together to something, like a lot of liberalism was creeping into other denominations at this time. So they were trying to bring that together. But then in 1963, they updated this thing, and it got like
the hippies.
It got a little squirrely.
Oh.
It got a little squirrely.
Like in what way?
I'm actually going to bring it up here. Hang on. I might not even be able to find it. Here is salvation, God's purpose of grace. Oh man, is it here? Oh God, Son, God, Holy Spirit. Man, salvation, God's purpose. No, I'm probably not.
No, don't worry about it.
But it got. There was a statement in the 63 somewhere. We should prep. But there's a statement in there somewhere about how that Jesus is the means by which we properly interpret Scripture, and it could be well intended, but it could also be used to interpret things in a bit more of a loosey-goosey way, like, well, Jesus didn't talk about this issue, and since he's the measure by which we interpret the rest of Scripture, we can't really speak to that. But it wasn't a great addition of our statement of faith. And then, of course, we call it the BF&M 2000, because that's what we got.
That's what we got.
So help me do the math here, Jimmy. So we've got the 1925, 63, 2000. How many years in between 25 and 60? So less than 30. And so less than 40, 63 to 2000.
Yeah.
No, okay. So roughly, let's just say 30 years.
Yeah.
So that's not, okay. What about 1845 to 1925? How many years is that?
1845 to 25?
1925, yeah.
What was that, 80 years?
Okay. Interesting. I'm just kind of thinking out loud, like we went from 25 to 63 to 2000, and so now we're coming up on 23, and that's why, people are talking about maybe we need to make an update.
Yeah.
And address some things. Yeah. I personally don't really like that frequent of an up. Like, why isn't this thing nailed down? Why don't we just stick it with some historic ones? That's kind of
Should we go back with everything is interpreted through Jesus?
Yeah, I don't like that one.
So you like it or you don't like it until you like it.
I want to go way back. I want to go back before the Baptist Faith and Message. I think that would, well, it's interesting because you can go back. Like the SBC started in 1845. Mm-hmm. So we don't have an SBC statement of faith until 1925. So what was going on before 1925? What were we using? And my best understanding is that a lot of churches were using the Second London Confession, whether their churches were holding to it or not. But that was in play. There's the New Hampshire Confession that people were using. The Abstract of Principles was an abstract that was drawn up for Southern Seminary in 1859. So that was used by some churches, I believe. But I think there wasn't like a consensus confession or document that everybody was using.
That everyone signed off on.
And I think that's what they're going for when they do the BF&M. So clearly, I mean, like in 1845, all of the churches that joined the SBC were 1689 churches, every one of them. So again, to what degree they fully embraced it, I mean, I can't speak to that, but those churches were churches that had that as their statement of faith. And so the SBC comes into existence, no need for a statement of faith, like essentially have one. But as they continue to develop and churches are moving and changing and evolving or devolving, things change. There's liberalism coming in, and so they start the Baptist Faith Message, 1925, 1963, 2000. So is it fair to say that we have a confession, so we are confessional? Is that fair to say?
Well, so you're asking, are we confessional as a association?
Yeah, as a convention of churches, are we confessional?
Yes and no.
Yeah, that's how you sneaky people answer questions, like with your yes and no.
Yes and no.
Yeah,
I'm willing to say yes and no. I'm willing to say yes, we have one. But like you said, just like back then, we don't know how many people are actually aligned with it. We don't ask people to sign off on it.
And that's weird for me. I would think I bet your average Southern Baptist thinks you got to sign off on the Baptist Faith and Message.
It makes sense
to be like, yeah.
It makes sense that you should.
Yeah, and you should. Like why would you want to join if you can't sign off on it?
Well, yeah, I can't understand why.
I'll tell you why. Because we have a missional character, not a confessional character. That's my argument. I think that, and again, when I talk to the average Southern Baptists, like when I go to the annual convention, I've gone for a long time. I meet these people. They love Jesus. They love the church, and what they get super pumped about is mission, reaching the nations. Which that's great. That's what I want. That's the missional character that I want to see. What they don't have to be talking about doctrinal particulars all the time. I like that they have this character, but it's not just the character. That is also the thing that tends to be the identifier. Is that aspect of it. I think that's why. Because it's always been, I mean, even when I hear Southern Baptist historians tell the story, they tend to leave out slavery and stuff like that. But they like to say like, oh, it was about missions. Like we were about missions. We're trying to send missionaries who owned slaves into the mission field. And it's like, okay, so I'm not disagreeing. It was very much about missions, but the foundation of that issue, like being a problem, was that we're dealing with slave owners who oftentimes had a very unbiblical view of Africans. So you know what I mean? Like a lot of issues there. So yeah, man, I think it's fair to say we're confessional, though. I mean, if you're saying like, well, we have, like you said, Jimmy, we have one. We have one that makes us confessional in that we have one.
But it's not. It's not being confessional in the truest sense of the word, right? Or even. It's not even being confessional in the basic,
in the loosest sense of the word.
In the loosest sense of the word, right? Like that. That's the frustrating part.
Yeah.
And so I think that's where I do look at Greenway's amendment, and I agree. We need to come to a place where we say
figure it out. Yeah.
Figure it out. Now, I haven't read his article, so I'm not sure what his intention is behind it. what I had understood while watching him make the amendment
Right.
was, trying to, how are we going to hold people to a standard that we haven't set as the standard?
Yeah.
And we haven't set what the standard is. We say we have the BF&M, which is supposed to be the standard, and yet we don't hold people to the BF&M.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people are making a good point here in that the Baptist faith and message seems to imply, if you just read it, for a closed or close communion, that means you must be members of this church to partake of the elements, not just a baptized by immersion Christian. But I don't think that was the intended meaning of those who put it together.
Yeah.
So I would go back to them. But yeah, okay. So to what degree do we hold people to the words and the intended meaning? We got to have this. So I agree.
But we haven't even gotten to that point, though, Joe.
Right.
We're not even at that point.
No.
We're not even at the point of saying, okay, we're gonna have people agree with this,
right,
or be aligned with this. What you're talking about is a step after.
Yeah.
We can't even get to that step without having some sort of alignment on this is what the standard, or this is what we're aligning on.
Yeah, and most of the people that I know, I don't know anybody that's arguing we shouldn't sign off on the BF&M. Like everybody that I talk to are like, yeah, like let's get going. You've got to sign off on this if you want to be, But then the question then comes, okay, so if you do take an issue with one aspect of it, is that an automatic out? Like what degree? There's usually an exception is allowed for some kind of subscription to a confession, and now it may be very small or minor, but like the Pope is the Antichrist is a big one for Westminster and the 1689. I don't take that exception. I'm fine with that one, but so like the people will allow for some kind of exception, like which one, where, and how, and then how do you figure that out? But I do think we need to have a conversation. We need to put our smartest people on this, because how do we maintain unity if we don't have some sort of standard by which we can say we are united around these doctrinal truths? And if these doctrinal truths go, we lose the basis of our unity. It can't just be mission, because mission is built upon confession. Mission is built upon the theology.
Yeah.
So I know we're on the same page. We need to get there. I don't know how we get there. How do we get to that place where we're actually moving? So, okay, we do a study. We put together a team. They're going to have to come back with recommendations that the convention is going to have to say, all right, we want to do this. And it seems to me, if we're going to be confessional, we're going to have to start at like regional or state levels. It seems to me like
rather than at the convention level. It's got to start then at here.
That's like like local chapters of something, right? So we have local associations, which are very regional, and then we have state associations, and then we have the national level. And so I think if you have to start at either the local or the national level. Because
the thing is, it makes sense to start at the local level, because these are the people that are going to know who you are and what you're about.
Yep.
That's where you can kind of hash things out. That's almost like that first line of defense.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah, I would expect them to say like, okay, so you want to join the SBC. To join the SBC, you have to go through us. And so, okay, so what are your, give us your stuff. Here's what we expect, and here's the statement of faith. And now some state associations do require you to sign off on the Baptist Faith and Message, because the states can operate. Every state operates independently of the national level. So some states will be like, "Yep,
we are so weird."
Oh, I know. So the state operates, and if they said, "All right, you can come in or you can't come in," they determine that. They have their own credentials committee, which is great. Now, I would want every state to have a credentials committee that checks all the boxes.
Yep.
Now, if you do apply and they say, no, this is wrong, I think you should be able to appeal to the national level. I think you should be able to go up and say like, well, listen, what's what's going on here? These people rejected me. It's because they happen to be corrupt or whatever. Or if there is a problem and with a church that is in and they're operating outside of bounds, I would expect it to come to the state. But the problem is like the local association operates independent of the state. The state operates independent of the national. And so there's cooperation between all three, but you don't have to be a part of the local or the state to be a part of the SBC. You can go straight to the executive level and come in. So it's definitely.
So we're not just big tent. We're like a tent with holes.
Yeah, we're more like a pavilion, really. It's like open all the way around.
Open all the way around.
Got a roof. There's a roof. And are you really a part of the concert if you're not under the pavilion? Well, you're not. Some people are under the roof. Some people are outside, still listening,
still hearing, still enjoying.
So I don't know. Yeah, it's a little. So I don't have the answer on how we do this because I'm not a denominational strategist. I'm not that guy. But okay, so is the SBC confessional, like Jimmy said, yes and no? I don't think that Greenway's wrong or Moeller's wrong or right. I think that it is what it is. It's a sloppy kind of confessionalism that doesn't have teeth.
I think, fair way to put it. Well, we'd love to hear your thoughts. You can follow us online on Instagram and Twitter @DocandDevo or on Facebook /Doctrine and Devotion. You can head to the website, doctrineanddevotion.com. There you can contact us. You can sign up for the email blast of the store, jofostore.com, and grab some gear. We got that fresh part every Monday and Thursday. We got blog posts and video content over at the website. And we got that all-access exclusive content. We got Banter Truth on Tuesdays, Weekday Wisdom Monday through Friday. You can click in the show notes there to subscribe, or you can head on over to doctrineanddevotion.com /all access. Later.